How does social media impact kids? Much has been written about the effects of social media on self-image and mental health in teens, and the data is not encouraging. In September, a study published in JAMA Psychiatry found that even 30 minutes a day of social media time increased teens' feelings of anxiety, depression, poor self-image, and loneliness. In those kids, the more they browsed, the worse they felt. In addition, a number of studies have suggested that social media is associated with poor body image in women. But no one has really looked at whether social media impacts kids' behaviors about food and weight, until recently. A group of researchers in Australia recently found that the more time teens spent on social media, the more likely they were to have an eating disorder. The scientists looked at just under 1,000 adolescents, ages 12 to 14. About half were girls and half were boys. They found that the more time a kid spent on social media, and the more social media accounts they had, the more disordered they were in their eating. When boys had Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram, they were much more likely to eat in a disordered way and to over-evaluate their weight and shape. For the girls, it was when they had Snapchat or Tumblr. And when girls spent more daily time on Instagram or Snapchat, they were much more likely to skip meals or engage in strict exercise regimens. The sheer numbers of kids who were disordered in their thoughts or behaviors around eating was startling: 51.7% of the girls and 45% of the boys in the study. 45% of boys? It's a common misperception that eating disorders are a female problem. I remember the first time I heard the term manorexia and thought of the bodybuilding, carb-cutting boys in my clinic. We are raising a generation with images of perfection in their hands at all times, and the boys are rivaling girls when it comes to body image problems. Recently, Kara Natterson, MD, wrote for the New York Times, "Many thoughtful researchers have offered up data about male body dysmorphia, showing that body image concerns and eating disorders alike are basically gender neutral." Indeed, Simon Wilkes, PhD, the Australian study's lead author, told Consumer Health Day, "I can say that the presence of disordered eating behaviors in boys in the current study was nearly 4 times higher than found 2 decades ago in another Australian study. Also, in my eating disorder treatment clinic, I am seeing many more young males than previously. And for approximately a third of these, muscle building is a significant concern." Does social media cause eating disorders? Do kids with eating disorders use social media because they are already obsessed with their appearance? Or do they develop eating disorders because they used social media and learned to think that way? It's hard to know. The fact that social media use and disordered eating correlate with each other does not prove that social media causes the problem. But that doesn't make this finding any less important. Even if high social media use is simply a sign of disordered eating, it's one that parents need to be mindful of.